We've all been there, right? Staring at a huge life decision, a new job, a new city, a new direction. It can be absolutely paralyzing. You list out the pros, the cons, and you just end up frozen, stuck. But what if I told you there's a powerful, battle-tested tool that can cut right through all that noise and give you real clarity? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Let's get into it. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to name the enemy, the paralysis of choice. Then, I'll show you a powerful tool from a pretty unexpected place. We'll walk through a case study, building a decision matrix step by step. We'll score some options, and then, this is the important part, we'll add your values into the mix. By the end, you'll have a brand new way to tackle those tough calls.
All right, let's start with that feeling. That feeling of being totally, completely stuck.
You know the one. You've got a few different paths you could take, and each one has its good points, its bad points, and your brain just starts spinning and spinning, trying to predict every possible future until you just give up and do nothing at all.
Turns out there's a name for this: analysis paralysis. It's a real thing. It's when you get so overloaded with information and so scared of making the wrong choice that you just freeze. So if you felt this, know that you're not just being indecisive. Your brain is literally overwhelmed. And isn't this the great irony of modern life? We have more choices than ever, but it often just makes us more anxious. We think we have to find the one, single, perfect option, and that pressure is exactly what paralyzes us. But there is a way to bring some order to that chaos. And the solution we're going to look at comes from an organization that has to make high-stakes, life-and-death decisions under unbelievable pressure every single day.
That's right, the U.S. Army. In their own field manual on problem solving, they say the go-to technique for comparing options is a decision matrix. Now, if this tool is solid enough for military planners, you can bet it's powerful enough to help us figure out a career move.
And look at their process. It's just beautifully logical, isn't it? Figure out the problem, decide what a good solution looks like, come up with some ideas, and then compare them. We're going to zoom in on that last step, comparing solutions, using their secret weapon.
Okay, theory is one thing, but let's make this real. We are going to build one of these decision matrices from the ground up using a scenario that I think a lot of us can relate to. Meet Alex. Alex is unhappy at work and has managed to land 4 different job offers. And now, Alex is stuck, deep in analysis paralysis, totally unable to pick one. This is the perfect test case for our matrix. So, following the Army's lead, the very first step is to figure out what actually matters. Before even looking at the offers, Alex has to define what a good job really means. After some soul-searching, Alex lands on these 5 things: autonomy, purpose, salary, room to grow, and commute time. These are the columns of our matrix. Now here's a really cool detail. The Army doesn't just list a word like cost. They define it. They give it a unit of measure, a benchmark. They make it objective. And we have to do the same thing for our own decisions. Good salary isn't a criterion. We need to define exactly what that means in real numbers. And that brings us to the next vital step, creating a rubric. This is how we translate those vague feelings and values into cold, hard numbers. We need a consistent scale to score every option against every single one of our criteria. For the squishier things like autonomy or purpose, Alex sets up a simple 1 to 5 scale. But here's the key. You have to anchor the numbers. A 1 for autonomy isn't just bad, it means micromanaged. A 5 means full ownership. This keeps you honest and consistent. And we do the exact same thing for the more number-driven stuff. For salary, a 3 is about the same as the current job. A 5 is a nice 20% bump. For commute, a 5 is working from home or a much shorter trip. This discipline is what makes the whole thing work. Okay, we have our criteria, we have our scoring system. Now it's time to put those job offers to the test and see what the raw data tells us. So Alex painstakingly goes through each offer, 1 category at a time, and assigns a score. Job number 1, amazing autonomy, but a horrible commute. Job number 2, great money and promotions, but it feels kind of meaningless. After you've scored everything, you just add them up. And the winner is job number 2 with a total score of 18. It's the highest number. Looks like we have our answer. Case closed, right? Well, not so fast. This next step is where this tool goes from being a simple calculator to something much deeper. It's very make this process truly personal.
Because you have to ask yourself this question: are all those criteria really equal? Of course not. Some things matter way more to you than others. Is a big paycheck really as important as waking up every day feeling like your work has a purpose? For most of us, the answer is no.
So, we add weights. This is where you get brutally honest with yourself. Alex decides autonomy is the absolute #1 priority, so it gets a weight of 3. Purpose is a very close second, at 2.5. Salary and promotions are important, sure, but they get a 2. And the commute, well, it's the least important, so it gets a 1. This step forces you to confront your true priorities. Now, watch what happens when we multiply each score by its weight. This changes everything. For job number 2, that weak autonomy score of 2 only gets 6 weighted points. But for job number 3, that amazing purpose score of 5 gets a massive 12.5 points. And when we add up the new totals, it's incredible. Job number 2 gets 35 points, but job number 3 now edges it out with 35.5. And that, right there, is the big reveal. The purely logical, unweighted choice was job number 2. But when Alex's actual values were factored in, job number 3 came out on top. It's the job that's truly aligned with what Alex cares about most: purpose and autonomy. So let's wrap this up. What's the bottom line here? What should you be adding to your own decision-making toolkit?
It really boils down to this. This matrix isn't a magic 8-ball. It's a mirror. The simple score shows you the logical, good-on-paper choice. But the weighted score, that shows you the choice that's right for you. It reflects your heart, your gut, your priorities.
And what's so cool is that this works for almost any complex decision. Buying a car, your criteria might be safety, reliability, price. Picking a college, maybe it's about the program, the location, the cost. This tool gives you a structure for any messy, complicated choice you have to make. So, as we finish up, I'll leave you with a question to think about. What's that one big decision that's been rattling around in the back of your mind? The one that's got you feeling stuck? What would happen if you actually sat down, defined what truly matters to you, and used this simple tool to finally find some clarity?